So today I'm going to talk about the technical skills that I learnt for the software Aftereefects when producing our titles for our trailer Underhand. So I'm going to in detail explain to you how I created our ending titles, as this is probably where we applied most of our skills, as it was the most complex trailer, but I will run over our other titles as well. So first, let me just show you our ending titles. So that was the title we used at the end, and now we just go to the Nightcrawler trailer. This is a trailer that and film that had a heavy influence on our film and trailer itself, and part of that was these ending titles. And from watching what I've just shown you of ours, and then from watching this, you will see a clear link and how we reiterated the ideas that they use in this trailer. And that was because when we were analysing this and getting audience feedback, it proved to us that form of titles, at being eye-catching and captivating, had a massive impact on the audience in terms of they remembered the film name, they remembered the film, and it would make them want to go and see it, as obviously it was a very interesting film. It's going to keep an audience captivated throughout, and just these simple titles had that effect on an audience. So from that, you'll see that our titles are very, very similar. And what we did is we took that titles and the look that it created, and we went into After Effects. So unfortunately, we did actually lose our After Effects file for these titles, but I filmed our work as we were doing it. So from that, I was able to get screenshots, and I can still explain to you what we did. So first of all, this skill I learnt to do was importing video files into After Effects. And this way it works just the same as Premiere. You go to File, Import, and your footage and any clips you need will appear here. You then import it into the sequence down here, and you move it over just as you would with Premiere. And the first one we did was the shot of Lila, where you see in the trailer it's an over-the-shoulder shot with her reflection in the mirror. We then, on top of that, imported the just one layer of text saying Underhand in the same colouring as the other titles. And then on top of that, we imported this clip here of Ross, which doesn't actually show anywhere else in the trailer, but it's just we chose that shot because the lighting matched well with the shot of Lila, so they complemented each other. And also, we always knew that we were going to use that shot of Lila, and when we realised that we were going to have to put another video image with that clip, we thought a really good symbolic way of summarising the film would be to represent the power struggle between these two and their moral conflict. And by the both of them being in this clip, it's the last thing you see, and it just highlights that. So then what we did is we used the mask tool to create these shapes here, and then we used the point ends here to shape those into a triangle, and we created 3 of those, as you can see, and we just moved them around to where we wanted them. And what we wanted to do is, from watching the Nightcrawler titles over and over again, we noticed that there were several images overlapped and they were split into triangular shapes, so we just reiterated that through here. And as you'll see, when you take away those masks, what you get is you get the shot of Ross, the shot of Lila, the shot of Ross, the shot of Lila, the shot of Ross, and it just breaks it up, and that creates the effect that we needed to with the image. So then we went on to play around with the text. So the first thing we did was layer multiple texts of saying Underhand, and again using that same colouring as we have throughout. We then adjusted the size of these different texts and overlapped them so it looked like this. And again, this was fitting in with that effect from watching the Nightcrawler and that. So what we then went to do to create an even bigger impact was enlarge separate letters from the text. And again, this was adding emphasis on the effect of the text and the image blending into one, and that was the effect we were going for. So through that, the tightening was allowing us to do that. So then this is what it appeared like, and you can now see that this is starting to resemble the final title we have. So then we went on to use keyframes, and it's very similar to how you use them in Premiere. They can let you fade things in, fade things out, move things to where you want them at different times. And we had to put in many different keyframes to be able to allow us to get that effect of the text moving backwards, so as if the camera was zooming out. So we just gradually put in those keyframes so that it seemed to flow and all be one movement. And then we went on to adjusting each layer of the text and the desired time length that we wanted. So again, very similar to Premiere, you just be able to click on your this is one of the layers of text, and I could lengthen it or shorten it. And again, just using Jenkins skills of play, we were experimenting around with this, watching various tutorials on YouTube, and watching that same clip of Nightcrawler over and over again to get the desired time that we wanted. And eventually, whilst playing around, we came to this ending, and it all looked as if the images and the text were working together, and they just in a split second merged together and formed that final title at the end. And we had to, when we were shorting these clips, we made sure we were listening to our soundtrack and our gunshots, so we matched that up as well. And that took a bit of time, but we think that's a very effective way to end our trailer. It reiterates the genre with the violence and the femme fatale and the protagonist, and it ends on a cliffhanger. They're both seen with guns, and then both there's one person that they both hold the gun to the camera and then gunshots go off, but you're not sure who pulled the trigger. And that is the whole plot twist in the film, and that would go and push you to watch the film. So that was a detail of how we created those ending titles, and I will just briefly go over how we created the other titles. So the other one after that is this. And what we did for this title is we found a template of the smoke effect online, and we asked permission to use that, and we got given the okay to go ahead and use that template. We then imported that again into After Effects and added a separate layer of text saying coming soon. And then again we used our keyframes and mask to allow it to allow the text to move with the smoke. So gradually each letter moves in, fades in with the smoke. If you watch that again, you will notice. Just adding to the effect, making it have a strong impact and look very professional. And then on more simpler titles, we had two of these. The first one being about our director. And all we did for that was we imported the colouring from the Brit trailer. If you were to watch that, you would notice that our colouring is very similar. And the reason why we chose this kind of faded green colour was because it represents the envy, the jealousy, and the evilness in our film. And then we just played around with fonts. We watched other trailers aside from Nightcrawler, and we decided that this looked the most professional font. The only thing I would say about our Sundance title, we did try and import the feather logo that Sundance have into After Effects, and using Photoshop as well, we tried to just select the feather and not the background, but we were unable to do this without it. Well, we did do it, but it didn't look very professional because it didn't match up with the text, because we couldn't get the right sizing, and then it became too pixelated. So we thought it was best just to leave it on this black background, and we still reiterated the font and the text size that Sundance have. So there we are, that is my analysis of my skills that I use in After Effects. Thank you for listening and goodbye.